Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be teaching at a high school, teaching a shop class, doing a little talking and maybe some cutting. But we're walking up now to check in, and then we're going to pull around and probably unload our tools and set up. But here's the place, the Career and Technical Center at this high school here in Texas. So we're going to go in, check in, and see how this goes.
Oh. Yeah, here we go. There you
Cool.
go. I'm
Thank
heading
you.
down there to let them know. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Just got our passes from the high school. And I have some good news too for those who were asking. I got the shirts in, so if y'all want to pick up a shirt, I'll put a link in the description. I have red and navy with the finished Carpentry logo on the front and then the DFW Crown logo on the back. So they're there if y'all want them. We're heading over to the Career Center now. We're gonna get started. They just learn kind of like basic joinery and
it is. It's basic joinery and basic cutting.
how to measure, how to mark, all that stuff.
I was at a custom kitchen place the other day. We got to tour their facility, and one of the guys was over in their drawer making department, was teaching a new guy how to read a tape measure.
Wow. So yeah, these kids will be prepared
So at
much
least
more.
They're gonna have at least that.
Yeah, and then when they grow up and their house falls apart, they'll be like, hey, I remember what Mr. Green taught me.
That's the overall hope, is that they'll at least have some basic memory that, you know, black wires go to black wires and white wires go to white wires, and they can put a ceiling fan in, or they can change out.
Do they learn all that too here?
Basically, yes.
All that kind of basic electrical.
The basic electrical, the basic plumbing, you know, just got to have a vent within 5 feet, you know.
Yeah, basic stuff.
So today we have Richard McMurray. He is with DFW Trim, correct?
Crown molding, DFW Crown molding.
DFW Crown Molding.
We do trim.
You do trim.
Yeah.
So DFW Crown Molding, you can find him on YouTube. He's here to show you guys how to cut some moldings, how to do coping, and he's going to demonstrate for a little while, and he's going to open it up for questions afterwards. So I'm going to let you guys have Richard McMurray.
All right, well, thanks for coming out. I know you really didn't have much of a choice, but I appreciate you being here. I talked last year at your old school, the old school, and he invited me back, so I guess that says something. It either says we like him and we want him to do it again, or let's give him another chance and see if he doesn't screw it up this time. But I'll tell you a little bit about how we got started as contractors and kind of what we do on a day-to-day basis. And then you can ask any question at any time. Feel free to just raise your hand or whatever if you have any questions. And then I'll show you some of the tools that we use on our job sites every day. And then we'll just go from there. We'll make some cuts, and if y'all guys have any questions, just ask them. If no one has any questions, shoot, I'll just get into our job site, what we use. So as a trim carpenter, this machine right here, what is this machine called? Y'all know, right?
Composite miter saw.
What's that?
Composite miter saw.
Compound miter saw. Yeah, this is actually called a compound sliding miter saw because it does have the sliding rails. And this is good because I got my big fence in the way, but it has a huge cutting capacity where you can slide it through, and that's good for cross cuts on, like, say 1x12s and stuff like that, where you need to cut across, and it's the most efficient way to do it. And it's compound because not only does it do miters upright, it actually will bevel, and it's not going to allow me to do it because I have this big aftermarket fence on here. This doesn't come with the saw. So it bevels this way, or it miters this way. It swings left and right, and then it'll also bevel left and right. And that'll give you compound cuts, which I'll show you in a minute what a compound miter is. And I'll show you actually a way to cheat at that without having to bevel the saw. Because when you're on a job site, let's say you have like a whole house you're trying to trim out, you don't want to be reaching back here all the time and like making this like, oh, okay, I got an outside corner here, so I'm going to bevel it this way. And now I got one over here, so I'm going to bevel it this way. It's really inefficient, but the purpose of this is for cutting big stuff that won't stand upright. So like if I was going to stand this upright, I can cut right through this. But let's say if it was taller like that, there's no way I'm going to be able to cut. So that's where the benefit of that comes in. This is basically the bread and butter of what we do. Anything we're going to do, like a crown molding. I'll show y'all a crown molding because it's probably the one that people mess up on the most. DeWalt makes these attachments. They're called crown stops, and they go into the miter saw. We use these all the time, and they're really good for smaller crowns like this one I'm going to show you. But the bigger crowns will have to be done on the flat. So you would lay the crown molding flat and then compound miter it with the bevel like I was talking about earlier. But this little part right here, this accessory, just hand tightens into the side of the saw, and it'll hold the material in position so you can cut it in position. Now the thing with crown molding, everyone knows what crown molding is, right? It's the trim that goes on the ceiling. Yeah, there's base, casing, all that basic stuff. But crown molding is kind of weird because it projects at a 3D angle. So to cut it, it's kind of confusing at first. You've got to cut it upside down and backwards. So like if you were going to see this piece, like let's say we were turning a corner right here, like this came and it turned a 90-degree corner. You wouldn't, the way you're seeing it right now, you wouldn't cut it like that. You would actually cut it like this. It's upside down and backwards. So it's kind of weird at first. So I'm going to make a 45 cut, and then I'll show you guys how this comes together and how I would make that turn. So now we have, I'm going to clean this cut up too a little bit. So I have two outside 45 miters, right? And then that one turns that way, and then that one turns that way. Now if I cut this piece in half, I'm just going to cut it in half. You can see the 3D projection when they come together. So when you see like the top of a cabinet or something, or like if you're going to make a turn in just a house or whatever, it's all done with the miter saw. And I'll try to let one of you strong guys break this apart if y'all want to try it. So I'm going to put this glue on one side of the material. So we got that cyanacrylate glue on one side of the miter, and then we're going to spray an activator on the mating side. And then this stuff is quick, so you got to be like real quick with it. And then you kind of fold them together, and then we'll wait a few seconds, and then this thing will be ready to go. Like if I was going to install this in someone's house, I could just glue this. This is what we do all the time. We glue like several pieces together and just pop it in. It's really cool. So I'll pass that around if y'all want to look at it. It's a pretty strong glue. While y'all are passing that around, I'll kind of go into coping. So coping would be kind of the opposite of that. That's an outside miter, and that's, you know, for an outside corner. So for an inside corner, yeah, you can try to snap it if you want. We'll let them hold it first. And that glue, I mean, you can use that glue on all kinds of stuff. You can glue someone's wallet shut. No, I'm just kidding. You can use it really if you want. Oh, she got it. All right. I stand corrected. Yeah, that was against the rules. But if you could think about, you know, like a house settling and shifting, a house settling and shifting is not going to break that joint. And that glue actually, it's a little old. If I had some new glue, you wouldn't have been able to break it. and I use my coping saw on the pull stroke. So you could switch this blade around and either push it or pull it. And the pull stroke is what I use to cut. So I'm just gonna follow that line. Kind of the same thing I did with the big blade.
I don't know. Are you getting money from DeWalt?
No, I wish. All right, so now you can see that it's kind of cut away. Usually what we'll have to do is take like a file or something and kind of clean up the edges like this. Depending on what molding it is, you know, like take this and kind of like clean up where my saw didn't really get to. And then when they come together, you see how it kind of hugs it? Well, does anybody want to try to make a cut or something? Anybody brave enough? You want to try it? All right, I can show you how to make one of these crown molding cuts. Good stuff. And then slide it the other way, 22.5. I'll show it to the next guys, yeah. Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Yes, sir, thank you. I'm gonna glue this together and one of you guys has gotta break it apart. Because last class a girl broke it apart, so if y'all can't do it, something's wrong. So while y'all are passing that around, I'll show you this next tool we use a lot of. As you can imagine, in the real world, nothing is ever, you know, you look at a corner and it's like, oh, that looks like a perfect 90-degree corner, right? But you throw this thing on there and it's gonna tell you, hey, actually, no, it's not. It's like a 92-degree or 94, whatever it is. And this is good because when you have a piece that lines up like that in someone's home and it's not closed up like that and it's all gapped and ugly, people don't like that and it's really ugly looking. So we throw this on the corners and this will tell you exactly what to cut. Who's gonna try to break it?
Don't use your leg.
Is anybody good at math here? I'm not, I'm just saying.
I like that.
So what's 90 divided by 4? Does anyone know?
15. It's like 20 something.
20 something.
22 and a half?
22 and a half, yep, exactly. So with this transition piece, it's 4 cuts that the girl in the last class made. And they all equal 22.5 on the miter saw. So y'all can pass this around and that's how you would make, so this is a 90-degree turn, but like he was saying, it's 22.5 for each cut. So we got 1 cut, 2 cut, 3 cut, 4 cut, and we make that turn. So I'll let y'all pass that around.
Let's get it back to
Y'all really shouldn't be handing Maribel anything, expecting him to not drop it. Drop my Martinez hammer and everything.
Okay.
Oh, you got a Martinez hammer?
I didn't mean to drop it. Okay?
That's crazy.
And he dropped it.
And he dropped it.
I didn't mean to drop it.
And he broke it.
No, I didn't.
This is an awesome nail gun. We use 18 gauge nails. Well, this is an 18 gauge nailer. And we use 15 gauge nails. So yeah, this one we would set doors with. So if we're gonna hang a door, we'll set it with this nail gun because it's a lot stronger. It's a really thick gauge nail. And then this one would be just for small trim and casings and stuff like that. So I got I'll show you this right here. One thing we do is when we shoot this nail gun, we're gonna shoot it up like this. And you can see that nail gun come out, or that nail come out right there. But one thing we do to ensure like a better grab on the surface, like on the drywall ceiling, is we'll shoot in a V pattern. So it'll be 1 nail left, so like that, and then 1 nail right. And what that does is it's a really good technique that, like if my hand was the ceiling, it's like gonna anchor it. It's not gonna let it fall down. These are 18 gauge nails, so I can pass those around. They're basically real small nails. And this one, I don't know, it might go through the ceiling, so watch out. So when I shoot this one, you'll see why we don't use this on small trim. See that? See how crazy it is? So So yeah, see how that's a huge nail? This is for more heavy applications. So it's, you know, you don't want to use that on some small piece of trim.
No, we're still waiting so we can get those. You want to break it?
Oh, who's gonna try to break it? Okay, try to break the other side off.
Oh, good luck. Oh, dang, this is a small piece.
Well, you actually broke the wood, not the glue.
Yeah, it's not a glue failure, which is amazing.
I got it right here.
And this right here is a blower. I don't know if y'all seen one of these before.
It looks like you could like go for one of those little trampolines.
Yeah, you could. This right here, the last class was asking about this, so I'll talk about this. This is everyone know what a snap line is? Chalk line, snap line. One guy holds one side, another guy holds that side, and then you pull it like this, and it leaves, it leaves a mark so you know what's going on. Hard to do alone.
Does that shoot it?
Yeah, this will shoot a laser. It's not going to shoot the powder. So it shoots a horizontal level line, and it shoots a vertical plumb line. So what that is perfectly horizontal and perfectly vertical. We'll use this when we're doing wainscot, which is like the wall treatment from about waist high down. And we'll also use that vertical line when we're hanging a door. Yeah, it goes everywhere. Yeah, yeah, so if we're gonna hang a door, we'll shoot this on one side of the hinge side, and then we'll know like that door, if it's on that line, it's gonna swing closed perfect every time. I mean, this is a contour gauge. This is a really cool tool because this, like if you need to put a piece of trim up against a stone wall or fireplace, you can push this piece into it or push this tool into it, and it'll just read out like how those stones look. And then you could take that and trace it onto your piece. So y'all can pass that around. It's a pretty cool little jig. This is another contour gauge. This is a really fine contour gauge. And you can see this right here. You see how it hugs that? That right there, you can take this and match moldings up. Like if you wrap that around a molding and take it to a supply house and say, hey, I need this molding. So I'll let y'all pass that around too. It's a pretty cool little jig. Those are kind of some basic techniques that we use. Let me see what other tools we have. We pretty much talked about everything. Does anyone have any questions or anything about anything?
How much did all of this cost?
All these tools? Probably this. Everything here, probably like 3,000 maybe. If that, maybe 25 or something.
25 to 3.
Yeah. We probably have about 10,000 in tools just for what we do that I keep in my garage. We got router tables, 2 table saws. I have another miter saw. I have a 7 1/4, which the 7 1/4. See, this is kind of a big, bulky miter saw. The 7 1/4 we use to cut panel moldings like this. So this is actually pretty cool. I'll show you all this. How much time do we have? 6 minutes. Okay, we can get this done. So we'll show you all this panel molding real quick. So everyone sees this piece right here, how it has that, I'm trying to show y'all from the side, that kind of groove in it right there. I'll let y'all pass that around. That's a lip. So when you want to have like deep moldings, you can put that groove on a sacrificial piece like this and make, let's just do a 90-degree cut. So it's similar to a crown molding. You have to cut it in position. So I'll show y'all. We'll go this way. And then we will cut this in half. And then let me cut this in half. How much time we got? Okay. All right. So we'll cut this 1 by 4 1/2. All right, so if we were building like a wainscot unit, right? We would have these stiles and rails come like that. But what's cool about this is those moldings that I just cut should fit perfect on the ground and in that piece. See that? So it's like you get this kind of step of.
Nobody shook the camera's hand, the cameraman's hand. I already did it. I'm just.
All right, so that's gonna do it for this video. This was definitely a fun experience. We're just cleaning up now. Got to talk to the kids and just hang out with them, teach them a couple little basic things. We did 2 classes and they were both awesome. They participated, and now they're gonna have a better understanding of when they go home tonight and look at their trim carpentry. They're probably gonna be like, hey, I kind of know what that's about now. So it was a great experience. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.